But another good thing about that though is if Ace Bailey is a guy, and Laurie is a nice piece. Outside of that, you have a ton of assets to trade and bring someone else in.
Yeah.
And you're going to have Ace on this rookie contract, so you have money to spend, you have assets to go and get someone, and then who knows?
Yeah,
definitely
interesting. I mean, this really is. I mean, if he basically, conducted him in himself where he basically leveraged this as the decision and the pick, I mean, this is betting on yourself.
Yeah.
This is what this is. You're putting in yourself in a position to be on a team that needs a guy.
Yeah, Ace Bailey, Utah. Yeah. So, he should be able to come in there, take a ton of shots, be aggressive over there with Lloyd Marketing and make something happen. I mean, he refused the 76ers to get to an opportunity like this. Now, you're probably the worst team in the Western Conference. The Western Conference is very, very deep. But you're going to have years to develop and with very low expectations, right? So he'll be able to make a ton of mistakes, get in there, and develop. And
probably 3-4 years away from a playoff game. Best case scenario.
Yeah, very, very best case scenario. I mean, very best case scenario. So, but another good thing about that though is if Ace Bailey is a guy, and Laurie is a nice piece. Outside of that, you have a ton of assets to trade and bring someone else in.
Yeah.
And you're going to have Ace on this rookie contract, so you have money to spend, you have assets to go and get someone, and then who knows?
Yeah, definitely interesting. I mean, this really is. I mean, if he basically, conducted him in himself where he basically leveraged this as the decision and the pick, I mean, this is betting on yourself.
Yeah.
This is what this is. You're putting in yourself in a position to be on a team that needs a guy. And really, like, the fifth pick in the draft, this is the first team that needs a guy. If you look at it, the Dallas has AD, they've got Kyrie. I know he's coming off injury, but they've got guys.
Yeah.
Then you go to San Antonio, Wemby's there, Castle's there, all the Aaron Fox is there. And then at 3, Philadelphia has Embiid, Maxey, some people. And then at 4, you had the Melo situation. So this is really like the first team in the draft that it's like it's there for somebody to take it over.
Yeah, it is. It is. I really struggled with Philly because with the 2 timelines thing, and Daryl Morey came on a bunch of podcasts over the summer and talked about that 2 timeline thing. And we really need a guy. I mean, the more you think about it, I mean, it really just is. The experience is over. With Embiid and George, and I really wish they would have traded George, traded back, and then moved off of Embiid in the next summer because that's when it's best to do so. But but they're going to trot this team out again and do it over again, and I mean whatever. But you can't realistically have any faith that Embiid and George are just going to remain healthy, and that's the tough thing about it, man. And it becomes tougher to trade George at 37 than at 36 and then Embiid at whatever. You know what I mean? And so but is Ace Bailey the guy? I don't believe he's the guy anyway. So I was, I'm totally fine with them going with the VJ or even a Trey at that point. And so we'll see how the tables turn here. Now, you got Washington on the clock now. It's funny how the teams who blatantly were the worst and blatantly take down the stretch. The Wizards even got rid of their best player for what it's worth, Kuzma, so they can lose more games than they were actually losing, and they end up with the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th picks. You know what I mean? That's just awful. But you got Washington here; they need everything.
But it felt like there was a certain level of justice to those teams getting screwed.
It was.
And I do think with there's a lot of anti-tanking sentiment, in the NBA.
Anyway, yeah.
And it feels like, and if you're one to think that the draft the lottery is maybe fixed, this was a classic example. We have these teams tanking, and we don't like these teams, and we don't respect what they're doing.
Yeah.
Let's give them the hose. And it looks like that's what may have happened.
Yeah, looks like that may have happened, and probably deservingly so.
Yeah.
Now, Washington, a team who needs everything. I'm looking at this. ESPN has Trey Johnson as the best available person to pick, and they think that Duke's big man is the best fit. Okay. Now, they made a trade.
They traded a Poole for McCollum.
For McCollum.
Yeah.
And if you're a real team that's trying to turn things
drafted
around.
Sarr, who's a big.
Yeah.
I don't know how Sarr and Matlock would operate together.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, in terms of fit, that seems a little odd with Sarr being your guy.
Yeah. So, what does ESPN know?
Yeah.
And if you're a team that's trying to turn things around, CJ is a seasoned vet, seasoned pro, and he's better than Poole. I found that move to be that's okay. You want to be serious now. It's just the first move, hopefully of many. The problem is you need everything, and there's not a player here that's really going to change fortune. If I'm Trey Johnson, the absolute last team I wanted to go to was the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's a guy, like I said, he's a shooter, but the best case scenario for him is to come into the league is a guy who can initiate offense and get him easy shots, for the first couple of years and develop that way. And, even for what it's worth, even a team like Charlotte or something would have been a better fit for him. But we'll see what they end up going with here as it's coming in shortly here. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's not a team that any guy in this draft is going to turn around. The McCollum trade does point to taking things a little bit more maturely, a bit more seriously, which is always a good thing. And he's a well-respected guy, and I think that I actually like this player right here.
Is that who they went with?
Jeremiah Fear. I don't know. I think they're talking about
They're
him.
just talking about him.
But he's a guard. He can play make. He can score. I think you're probably better served with him.
I think so.
Than anybody else.
Yeah. I think so. You definitely need a point guard in there.
He was really tough. They played Connecticut in the tournament, and he was really tough in that game. Has to me a pro game. I think. And I think he'll be very good.
No, he's nice. He's nice. Now, if I'm not mistaken, is he a little on the smaller side? I think he's 6 foot, 6'1". I could be wrong on that.
I thought he was a little taller, but not girthy, kind of light.
Yeah.
But I thought he was like a 6'2", 6'3" guy. But
no, he is. He is.
Yeah.
He measures 6'3", so 6'4" with shoes. So yeah. That's good. That's good.
I actually haven't seen his face up on the board. I think that would be the best possible pick for Washington.
Yeah. Oklahoma. Yeah, let's let me see. What did they end up going with here? Where am I? Okay. Washington selection is in, and they ended up going with Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson.
Yeah, ended up going with Trey. Hey, I mean the best shooter in the draft. CJ and Trey, you got a nice shooting backcourt there. You're probably gonna go out and get you a point guard and probably bring Trey off the bench, depending on CJ McCollum's health. Lately he's been pretty banged up, so we'll see.
Spending more time on the vineyard than the court.
Yeah, but let's move past Washington, man. That's a.
I'm not excited by the pick at all. I'm not a Trey Johnson guy.
You're not?
No.
I like Trey.
Yeah.
In a situation where he can just do what he do.
Yeah, but I just don't like those guys.
He broke the scoring record. He broke KD's scoring record.
How?
And Texas, huh?
KD averaged less than 20 points at Texas.
I don't think it was a points per game average, but yeah, he broke a KD scoring record.
I mean, seriously, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so what you have here next is you have the New Orleans Pelicans on the clock here. Okay.
Who just acquired Jordan Poole.
Which for what reason? I have no idea.
Zion. What else do those guys have?
They have Herb Jones.
Yeah.
He's a good player. I like Herb. Sort of like Embiid. I mean, sort of like Philly. Everything kind of relies on Zion, man.
It's not a reliable option.
Yeah, I mean, if Zion is on the court and available, everybody else can kind of slot into place. I hate the Poole Zion connection there.
Yeah.
If you're trying to turn things around, I just don't know why you go Poole. I just don't know.
Yeah, he's another guy. To me, has no value. I wouldn't want him within a 10-foot pole of my team.
Yeah, just
At
not
all.
at all. Bad locker room guy. Bad
Yeah.
everything guy. But as far as this pick here, you know, I think let me see who they have at their big. They might be a team that goes with Duke's big here. You know, you still got DeJounte Murray over there.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And like Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy is a really solid small forward. I like him. He can play on a playoff contender team. Okay. We talked about Herb and Zion.
You got Grand Theft Alvarado, right?
Yeah. Alvarado is a nice reserve guard. So yeah, I mean, really, the glaring need is a big. Well, you have Yves Misi, Carlo Matavich, and the power forwards in Zion and Herb. So I mean, that's the glaring weakness.
Oh, yeah. You got to go with Mallock.
I think so.
Yeah.
And if he can, he's shown the propensity to every once in a blue moon hit it open, mid range to 3-point shot.
Yeah.
And even in the workouts, they said that he shot the ball, fairly well. You're shooting against air. There's nobody guarding you.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's shown propensity to hit that. And if you could do that with Zion, if you can get the next, decent shooting big who can also rim run and protect the rim, just develop him and you're on to something there.
Yeah. No, because they do, going through the roster, they do have some passable options among the smaller players. You've got Zion. Probably need to do that. The other guy might be Derek Queen to look at.
Okay.
He's not a big,
right,
but he's kind of skilled, and maybe he's a fit. I'm not sure.
Especially because the thing about Duke Center, it's going to take him a while to develop, and I mean a few years. It just is. If internally, if you have a strong inkling that Zion is not going to work out with Zion, take Queen.
Yeah.
Take Queen. See how this year goes, and then you're ready to move off of Zion, and then Queen can slot right into there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's a good plan.
Yeah.
So I think he's the better player too. I think Queen is a better player.
Yeah.
Will be a better pro player overall than Duke Center. I can't say his name, so I'm just going to keep saying Duke Center. You know who I'm talking about.
I think it's Mallock. It's the way.
Yeah, Mallock, something like that.
Yeah.
K-Man, K-Man is his first name.
Yeah.
I call him the K-Man, like Kramer off Seinfeld. Which is odd because he had that racist joke, but I don't care, man. Kramer's a legend.
You'll overlook it for a legend.
I overlook it.
Way to go, Bubba.
Still can come to the barbecue, Kramer.
Oh, not the barbecue.
Let's see here. They actually have. I don't know what ESPN is doing. They have Jeremiah Fears as the best fit. I mean, but again, he's a really good player. But they have some guards already, man.
If you wanted to take Fears, why would you trade for Poole?
Why would you
and
trade
I know
for
you've already
Poole?
got McCollum, but McCollum could, is just a veteran guy. He's a calm guy.
No. I'm talking about for the Pelicans because McCollum is on Washington.
No. I'm saying you wouldn't have traded for Poole if you're looking hard at a Jeremiah Fears.
I see what you're saying.
But if you just had McCollum and you weren't making that trade to get a young guy that he could mentor and whatever, I think that would be the better thing. I mean, Poole's not mentoring anybody.
No.
Especially on the dating scene.
Oh, man. The pick is in. Who are they going to take here? They were 21-61 last year, 14th in the Western Conference. They probably do somewhat of the same next year.
They were 21 and
61.